Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for joining me, and how fun. I'm looking at all these, like all this fun gadgets. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about today is, let's see. So I already went live on my Instagram at Samantha D. Fuego, or my I think it's at Sammy D. Fuego as well. But yesterday, if you guys haven't seen my lives, check them out. I'm reading from Dr. Batman's Your Body's Many Cries for Water. Don't treat, you're not sick, you're thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medication. And it talks about just preventing and reversing conditions, and I'm naturally eliminating pains and, you know, water protocols and prescriptions to prevent and combat like premature aging. And we were talking about endorphins, cortisone, prolactin. I'm gonna go live for 10 minutes, y'all. Okay. Prolactin. We were talking about vasopressin. We were talking about endorphins that prepare the body to endure hardship and injury until it's able to get out of danger. And so we talked about cortisone initiating the remobilization of stored energies and raw materials. We were talking about the water filtration through the cell membrane, what that looks like right there. And also, we were talking about vasopressin being one of the hormones involved in the rationing and the distribution of the water throughout your body. And then we were talking about we're actually going to talk about alcohol today. Oh, I love that it gives you the time too. Neat. Alcohol suppresses the secretion of vasopressin from the pituitary gland. And the lack of vasopressin in circulation, it translates into a pan dehydration in the brain. So you're going to start having a severe drought in the sensitive cells in your brain. To cope with the stress, so many hormones are secreted, including the body's own addictive hormones. Women, because of their natural tendency to increase endorphin production due to, childbirth, monthly menstruation, they seem to become addicted to alcohol more readily than men. It seems that women become addicted to alcohol in like 3 years, but men, by comparison, become compulsive in 7 years. So it shows the difference between their addictive personalities and how their biology is different in when it comes to the production of hormones and how that can affect our addictive personalities. We also talked about the vasopressin being the water regulator in our body, and also severe dehydration being produced because of alcohol and caffeine. When water has to be urgently pumped into the waterways and the nerves, the process involves the release of histamine from the cells in the lining that covers the nerve. Remember the myelin sheath right here, okay? And this is what I was talking about on my last lives on TikTok and on Instagram. This is how MS is developed, multiple sclerosis, okay? So at some point, this inflammatory situation that happens causes damage in the lining of the cell of the vicinity at a faster pace than it could be repaired, okay? And then, it's labeled different nerve disorders becoming multiple sclerosis. And then we talk about, there's a letter at the end of this chapter that I'm going to go over as the days go by and I continue to go live. We're going to get into the RA system, renin-angiotensin system. If you guys don't know what that is it's a mechanism subordinate to like a histamine reaction in the brain. And it's very, very, very active in the kidneys. Okay, and so it's activated when the fluid volume of the body continues to get diminished. and when it needs the absorption of more sodium. So when the sodium levels get low, that happens as well. We produce more RA in our system. It becomes more active in sodium depletion. And then also, until the water and the sodium content of the body reaches that homeostasis, the RA system also brings the tightening of capillary beds and your vascular system. So sometimes there's no slack or like empty space in the circulation system, and then it can cause hypertension. So you don't want to overly produce renin-angiotensin in your body, and that's also caused by stress. Okay, stress also causes this tightening of the blood vessels, and when there's stress, some of this water, right, that you're putting into your body too, is used for the breakdown of like the stored materials like protein, starch, fat, things like that. But to compensate for that lost water, the RA system will coordinate with vasopressin and other hormones to squeeze whatever's left. And the kidneys are obviously the main site of the renin-angiotensin. So also the kidneys are not only responsible for that, but the urine production of your body. Kidneys are also responsible for removing hydrogen, excess minerals from your body, nutritional calcium, magnesium, potassium that you have in your body, and also waste materials. Filtration, right? We know that the kidneys filtrate. And so all these functions have to be made the sufficient availability of water. It needs to concentrate the urine. And so, sometimes it's not there, and then that's what causes kidney damage. So the RA system is pivotal for the restoration of the fluid volume in the body, and it's also it regulates the vascular bed of your body, and it is decreased by the presence of more salt and water. Well, actually, when you need more salt and water to fill that vascular bed, that's when the RA system gets more activated. I went through that a little bit earlier, but so when you're low in sodium, that's when the RA system kicks in more, or when you're dehydrated as well. And also the flow and filtration system of your body and urine making system, the kidneys, okay? And then let's see. When the kidneys are damaged and urine production is insufficient, the RA system is more active. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, right? It promotes more salt intake and induces thirst. And so kidney damage may be the consequence to long-term dehydration and salt depletion that triggers this renin-angiotensin activity in the first place. And so, we haven't really done too much research, I think, about this and hypertension in the past. I think also they're finding that insufficient fluid intake can also be the cause of renal damage. And also it talks about that being so bad that you might need a kidney replacement as well. Me too, right? It's by Dr. Batman. Actually, his name is not Dr. Batman, but that's what I call him because it's Dr. Batman Gelage. But I don't think I say it right. But he is amazing. So, I mean, he's like a superhero to me. So, Dr. Batman, he is. And then, so we talk about, oh yeah, I love this part. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of a cliffhanger. How much time do I have? Okay, I have 2 minutes and 4 seconds left. So, we're talking about renin-angiotensin. We're talking about the vascular tightening, what happens with renal damage, right? And needing a kidney replacement is usually insufficient fluid in your body. We're talking about components of turning off renin-angiotensin. It's going to be more water and more sodium, nutritional sodium. And it's crazy because our body has a crazy paradox. So when we it's about not being sick, being thirsty, not treating thirst with medication, and your body's many cries for water. But what it is it's a restructured water. It's called, it's a hexagonal shaped water. And this doctor wrote this book about how many people he helped and what it regulates. And so, but we're talking about this paradox real quick before I get off. I have about 56 seconds. Okay. There's this paradox, even though the body's super dehydrated, like, I don't know, like I was talking about this in my other lives. I had cotton mouth, something that like I was just like, I feel like my body's really craving this water. Like, why is it craving it? And people are like, you had 35 years of drinking water that hydrated you, only 15%. And now you're drinking hexagonal shaped water, electrolyzed reduced water, and you're experiencing these phenomenons in your body. For me, it was I was taking progestin estrogen. I was told to get a hysterectomy at my 20s, and I didn't want to do that. I had early onset menopausal symptoms, and at the time I wasn't planning on having children, but now, I knew eventually I would. And so I got this medical device from a man who played professional soccer for the LA Galaxy. And that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I gotta do something different. Like, and I changed my life. I started drinking this water. I started educating myself. I started educating myself about this water. I started educating myself about naturopathic holistic healing. Max Gerson Institute, started my juicing company, helping so many people with fasting and juicing. And then, so anyways, a little bit about my story, but talking about the lubrication in your mouth, okay? Even though your body is super dehydrated, your salivary glands will still overproduce saliva. Crazy, right? Which is why medicine and science like are light years off, right? Because a lot of people are aware of pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, what's happening in our bodies, the poison in our water, things like that. Um, so we're going to talk about kinins, and the kinins are what produces the salivary glands in your bodies or in your mouth. So, and that's also the beginning of the breakdown of your food when you put it into your body, the digestive process, right? And so, if you don't have, you obviously, if you don't produce enough saliva for yourself, you can drink some of the right water, but know that your kinins might be off, your kinin levels. And so, um, the salivary glands also trigger the activation of the renin-angiotensin system that obviously influences all of your body. um, Sodium shortage in your body, which also contributes to the water shortage outside of the cells, can initiate hypertension. It can initiate so many things, but for sure, body water content loss. Okay. And so it talks about here about the ample saliva production. Even if the body is fairly dehydrated, is the paradox in the natural design of the human body. It exposes that gross error in considering a dry mouth as the sole indicator of water shortage in humans. So it says the relationship of the salivary kinins to sodium depletion. So it causes the body water content loss, but ample saliva continues. And so it says, much backtracking and revision. Because of this very simple error, the practice of medicine and scientific research are light years off course. Much backtracking and revision to already adopted views will be unavoidable. Let us hope self-protection will not be an obstacle in the way. And so tomorrow, what I'm going to get into is going to be what happens when we drink tea, when we drink coffee, when we drink denatured drinks like Coca-Colas in place of water. And also, we're going to talk about the central nervous system. We're going to talk about ATP. That is what produces the energy in our body to function, right? Turns our fat into energy. We're going to talk about caffeine. We're going to talk about more hormones. We're going to talk about this Alzheimer's, but also this this letter that Dr. Batman wrote about multiple sclerosis. You guys know anybody with MS? And then chapter 6 is going to be high blood. So share this with anybody who will know a little bit more about naturopathic holistic healing. If you guys haven't followed me on my other social media platforms, at Samantha Dean Fuego on Instagram or Sam D Fuego on TikTok, I share a lot of knowledge and information about awareness about what's out there in the world. And it's just so important to take time out of our day to share things that we're learning, because if we keep everything in, what good is that for the world, right? So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just went a little bit over. We usually is about 10 minutes. And I will see you guys tomorrow. God bless.